We'll do it live. We live? I think we're live, folks. Waiting room's coming off. I think Houdini's in the kitchen right now. There he is. What's going on? First things first, victory cheers, everyone. Second thing second, Elliot, I can hear myself right now on the mix minus, and it's making it impossible to host a show. Let's see if that's on my end. If not, we're going to power. All right. I think we're live. Mix minus, do what we do. Hi, Houdini, 6-0, win over Howard, 86-81. I got to take out these headphones, so just don't talk over me, Houdini. This is how hard it is to do a show when you have the mix minus in. I told Hudson, because I think the first show that we did, he's like, dude, I could hear myself like 30 seconds later with the thoughts that I had said like 15 seconds prior, and it was just all jumbled together. Imagine being in a broadcast, Houdini, at the NBA Finals, Celtics Warriors, and you're doing that trying to put together any sort of a cohesive thought, and you just have voices in your head. I already have enough voices in my head. Wes Miller had some voices in his head at the end saying foul, foul. He doesn't foul at the end of regulation, doesn't need to foul at the end of overtime. Day Thomas comes in there, gets the steal, slams it home for the people that took live lines. I'm sure they were saying, thank you, Day. Anyways, another long intro. Houdini, how are we? I know it's Howard, but a road win's a road win. We'll take it.
A road win is a road win. I think we might I'm delayed again like we were in the first show we did. This still might be better than Howard's. Really? All right. Because I think we're burying the lead. I know we just won a game. That was, from a broadcasting standpoint, just top-tier stuff. I mean, kept you engaged, made sure you weren't able to really watch any of the shots. They ranked us number 22, if you saw that. That was pretty interesting. And Chuck, what did you think about – I'm trying to figure out what the hell they were thinking with the baseline camera angle. Every single time somebody shot a ball, they would reverse to the camera on the baseline, and you couldn't see shit. I couldn't even see the game-tying three that they had. It was we got to do better, folks. We got to do better.
That's what you sign up for when you have a road game in Washington, D.C. And thank you for getting the voices out of my head, Elliot. That's why he gets paid the big bucks as a top-tier producer. 86-81, Cats improved to 6-0 on the season. We'll run through the box score in just a minute. We're going to get into everything, but for the sake of the podcast in the morning, this is kind of the behind the scenes. And the voices are back, Elliot. The voices are back. Christ almighty. Roll the tape, the intro video. Let's start Chatterbox Bearcats. Welcome, everyone on YouTube. One more time for the folks on the morning podcast. Welcome into Chatterbox Bearcats. Chuck Walter alongside Houdini. The Cincinnati Bearcats travel to Washington, D.C. for what was a 12.5-point spread. Thought it would potentially be another cupcake, considering the Howard Bison lost to Georgia Tech. Transitive property always works, right? Unfortunately, they had a guy named Seth Towns. He went off. The team shot at about 50% from deep, 50% from the floor. They looked really good tonight. But the Bearcats do get a win, 86-81. Your initial thoughts on the performance, Houdini, before we get into us being C captains with how the broadcast was. Let's just talk about the game, your initial thoughts that stand out. Did the Cats play well? Did they not play good? Did Howard just play really good? I think it's a mix of both. Like, I don't think Cincinnati played terrible by any means. I thought that was a scrappy Howard team tonight. The second you saw the broadcast and the second you saw their gymnasium packed and full of energy, and the broadcasters on their side saying things like, oh, he looks like he's on NASCAR pit row, Aziz Bandiago and Victor Lakhin. I thought this one had all the makings of a trap game, and Cincinnati gets it done, which to me is all that matters, man. That is all that matters. You escape out of that gym with a win.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The second I saw the broadcast, I was like, we are screwed. This is an exact game that Cincinnati would lose. We looked a little ugly in the beginning, and then I just thought Howard was just making tough shots. I mean, Towns, who is allegedly 26 years old, was at Harvard, Ohio State, and then just sat out and had a COVID year. He's 26. That's us like a few years ago. So you got to expect him to get his points. But they just started knocking down a ton of shots. And I think without Jizzle James, and we saw Lakhin get hot, Aziz had a few of his highlight plays, and just attacking the boards, really. I thought that game we could have easily lost if we didn't pick it up in the second half a little bit and kind of go shot for shot with them for a good little run. So exactly your point. Getting out of there with a win is all that you can ask for in an environment like that. I mean, the clock went out at one point. They called every guy on the team a different name, pronounced it a different way about 56 times. Even their own guys. They started calling Seth Towns Seth Thomas. So you just got to get out of there with the win.
Oh, dude. Aziz Bandiago. That may have been my favorite. And the fact that Victor Lakhin put up 19 points and was listed as one of the top 30 most efficient players in college basketball. Apparently that guy doesn't have a Twitter, because I'm sure at some point someone would have found out who that student was, that poor student calling Victor Lakhin Victor Lakhin all game. I thought he had some energy. Look, Howard is the home of Gus Johnson. And that guy may not be Gus Johnson. He may, who knows? You may hear his name in about 15 years. Needs a lot of polish. The first thing to being a broadcaster is getting the names right, so you don't have grown men on postgame shows coming after you as you're just doing your job for free. But he had some energy, and I thought the team really fed off it. They must have heard him over at the scorer's table barking into that mic, because they played hard tonight, man, and that is a hard-fought victory that really required everyone. Dan Skillings went off in the first half. Victor Lakhin went off in the second half. Aziz had his moments. Seamoss hit some threes to start the game. Newman had some plays late. It just goes to show you that the deepness of this UC team is going to cause them to win some games that they probably should have lost, because today Howard was probably the better team for a good portion of that game, at least with the way they were shooting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a deep team, and it's going to be a different guy every week. It seems like we got, Lakhin, Skillings, and then you're going to have guys step up. Day didn't have a great game. They threw him in at the end. I was questioning some of the rotation we were doing towards the end of the game. We pulled Aziz. Frederick, again, kind of nothing from him, but
no points.
That's what you get.
A goose egg from our boy CJ.
Yeah. Goose egg. So you hate to see
Feast
that. You want to
famine.
get him going. Exactly. So we're going to take it. Our length is going to be a problem now that we have Aziz. If we can get Jamil, if our boy Dave Yost can get him, then we're going to be even bigger. Because that's gonna help quite a bit when you're not going to always play Howard, but those guys, you got 2 7-footers out there, and if Lakhin can maintain a decent 3-point percentage, you can spread the floor out a little bit. So I'm excited to see what happens. A win's a win. Hey, Georgia Tech just beat a ranked Mississippi State, I believe, tonight. Maybe they're good. Maybe UC is really good. We'll see.
We will see. One thing that I won't have to see is actually I will have to see it, rather. Segue here. Probably some Advil tonight. My head's spinning a little. Most Bearcats fans right now feeling a little wobbly, and it's not because we had a few of these, folks. Yes, we indulge from time to time. This is my first. But the broadcast, man, we were sea captains watching this game. How does that even happen? What was the camera on like a rope, and was it turning? Because if you didn't see the game, the broadcast was swaying. We were literally watching. It was like what I imagine the folks out there that do a little LSD from time to time and they're watching basketball games like they're at Woodstock in the 70s. That's what I imagine this game was like. It was a tough watch there. The baseline camera, you mentioned it earlier in the pre-show. Dan Skillings had a dunk. I didn't even get to see it because they switched to the baseline camera all of a sudden. Actually, that one may have been a decent transition on accident. I think that one they showed him flushing it down. But the alley-oop play later, at the end of the game, the Day Thomas, they didn't pan the camera in time to where I was like, are we about to miss the half quarter that ties this game up right here because they don't turn the camera, and then you see Day come away with it, flush it home for the 5-point Cincinnati win. But that's a tough ask to watch a bunch of Bearcats fans and a crop of Bearcats fans, I should say. Chat room's popping right now. We got 30 people on board. State where you're watching from, folks. Go Cats. But there's a little juice behind this Bearcats team right now after the win over Georgia Tech. I think some of the casuals came back out. They're ready to watch some Cats. And to have to turn on ESPN Plus and potentially pay for that lone broadcast games to start the year, you pay the $9.99 a month to watch that. I mean, Jesus. And not only that, you mentioned at the very end, the scoreboard goes out. Before that, Howard gives Victor Lakhin an extra free throw, which really helped decide the game at the end there because a student tripped over a cable cord and it distracted him. I mean, what the hell was going on? Jeez, oh Pete's, man. That was a lot.
It was wild, yeah, because the motion of the camera alone, it felt like I was watching. Remember when they tried to play the games like it was like Michigan State, North Carolina? They played it literally on a ship. That's what I felt like we were on. I thought we were literally on the ocean, and it was swaying back and forth.
It was like a speedboat, though. We wouldn't have felt like that if we were on one of those, those big Army ships. We were on a speedboat in the ocean.
Yeah, it was. Granted, it made for some good, no pun intended, some good chatter. There was a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people commenting. I mean, the chat's going off about the whole broadcast. So maybe this is just a marketing scheme from ESPN Plus. They're like, come on, it's a clown show. We'll just do a bunch of random shit. We'll call guys whatever name we want, and we'll have the camera just doing 360s all day. So, shout out to them if that was the plan. But I'm really excited to move into Big 12 play where I don't necessarily have to search through 7,000 games on ESPN Plus and pray that, it's not an hour delay when I actually watch it and we can hopefully see the end of the game. Because I didn't even see the play leading up to the Towns 3. I don't know if West tried to foul. I have no idea what happened.
I didn't either. I think everyone was in that boat. I think it just cut out. I just accepted it because nothing happened there. But I don't know what to say. If anyone was at the game in D.C. and his boots on the ground and wants to hop in the chat and tell us what happened, I don't know. But we got the W, man. We got the W.
And Howard's a scrappy team. I would not be shocked to see them in the tournament.
As a 16, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere winning their conference because, I don't want to go back there and play. I'll tell you that right now. I'm glad we got out over the W. And Towns is a Power 5 caliber player. We all saw that, and he was dicing us up. So you got to take the win there. You got to take the win, move on. And then let's not get in a trap game, another one coming up before we play Xavier.
The 22nd ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, I should say. I don't know where they came up with that number or what poll they were looking at to get 22. But, hey, I got the
there you go.
I got the Steve Logan. I got the
I think, and I don't hate implementing this, they just let the home team just pick what the ranking is for any team that they're playing. So they're like, yeah, I think UC is probably the 22nd ranked team. And I agree. I think we're probably 22.
Hey, we'll take it. Cats are 6-0. Let's run through the box score real quick. Aziz Bandago, 12 points. He had 5 rebounds, no blocks in the game. I don't have it as official minutes up. I don't get it on ESPN. If you have it, let me know. But I still don't think he's playing enough. Maybe they're easing him back into it. I don't know. But he was really effective when he was on the floor. I did not see him and Lakhin enough. When I did, I liked what I saw. Lakhin had the 19, the 6 rebounds. John Newman had 11 and 6 rebounds. He played well down the stretch and was in that lineup late. I think the lineups late are going to be, Newman, Lakhin. I think Bandego is going to be in there. Skillings is a must. And then whether it's Jizzle or Thomas moving forward, I don't know. It was Day down the stretch tonight in overtime, but Jizzle down the stretch in regulation. They both had their moments. Newman had the 11, as I mentioned. Day had 6 points and 5 rebounds, but he padded those stats late with a little tomahawk with no time on the clock. I love it. Get out of there emphatically. CJ Frederick didn't score on 0 of 2 shooting. Odi Oguama had 2. I think his minutes are going to be reduced big time, especially if Jameel Reynolds returns. Jizzle James had 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. Dan Skillings, 16 and 6, and Simas Lukosius had 11 points, with a lot of them coming early in this game. Dan Skillings, damn Daniel, back at it again with the white Jordans. What do you think of Dan Skillings? Is this the star this team is looking for, a combo of him, Lakhin, and Bandego getting it done defensively?
Yeah, I think so. He's just so lengthy, and we see it every game. He has those I'm still shocked on the closeouts that some of these defenders, get that thing back up there, Chuck. Some of the defenders that close out on his three so strongly, and he pump fakes and goes by him. I'm assuming they'll pick up on that he's not necessarily a lockdown three-point shooter, but he can shoot it well enough that they're going to have to respect it to a degree. And just his length in attacking the rim, I don't know how consistent we're going to be expecting Dan Skillings to be. I hope he's very consistent with it. But again, I think he's probably our best perimeter guy as far as attacking the rim. Just the length and the athleticism. And then you got Newman too, who's kind of a similar build there, but a little smoother, I would say, a little more trustworthy with it. But Skillings, he's going to have to put up numbers. If we're going to be a legit tournament team, we're going to need Skillings big time.
Yeah, and Skillings is real dangerous when he's knocking down some shots. Was hitting the little baseline J's, was getting to the basket, but 0 of 3 from deep. He starts hitting a couple of those a game. It becomes a completely different story with Skillings, and he's going to be really hard to stop. One thing I will note with Dan Skillings, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. The team shot 81%. I feel like I saw Victor Lakhin miss about 6 free throws in a span of 30 seconds, but apparently the team went 17 of 21. Who knows? With the broadcast crew and the statisticians tonight, I don't know what the hell's going on after that one. But 81% from the line, you'll take that. Cats dominated the glass, 36-24. And then Cincy just 3 of 18 from deep, as compared to Howard's 9 of 21. That's why Howard was in this game, because Cincy was getting it going inside late, and they clearly had the size advantage. Howard, 30 of 60 from the floor. That's 50%. They played well. You got to give it to Howard. You went on the road and you won a game. And for those of you out there that say, yeah, but it's Howard, they stink. UC's only Sweet 16 team in the last 20 years lost to Presbyterian. It happens. Take a little adversity along the way, and when you win that game, that's massive. So 6-0 with the Bearcats. By the way, Houdini, I thought that karma was going to hit me. You saw what I sent to a Xavier fan last night, and everyone on the chat, you'll love this one. It's gold. I said, stand by, adding for the drama. I probably shouldn't be looking through the catch chat, considering we sent about 300 today. But here we go. I texted a buddy last night at 9:20. Must be tough watching Xavier be ass when you know UC is back. Ha ha. Tough loss. Beeping losers. Sean's too worried about his new podcast with Fanta. Then I texted him this morning at noon, or this afternoon at noon, and said, your silence is telling. Still haven't received a response. I think he was getting ready to respond to me about this Howard game, and now he doesn't get to. That's why I love Cincinnati pulling out games like this. You can't take this W away from us, Houdini. On to Victor Lakhin, or shall I say Victor Lakhin. We trashed him a little bit at the beginning of the year. I don't think we trashed him for his offensive abilities. Look, Victor Lakhin's a 4. He's a 4 that's had to play the 5 now for a couple of years. And when Bendego's in there, when Aziz is in there, you see a completely different side of Victor Lakhin with how he plays, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. Your thoughts on the lethal weapon?
Lakhin. I might start calling him Lakhin for the rest of the year, because he played a hell of a game. He's been our best player all year, really. He had 19, 6, 2 blocks. He did it all except not hit his free throws. He did have an air ball today. Looked like he was going to cry. He was like staring at the rim for 10 seconds after he missed it, just confused, like, what? Yeah, well, Vic, you airball. It's all right. Yeah, get up the line, knock down the other one.
On to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was awesome. And you're right. When he can kind of play and not just sit in the paint like that when he's the only guy that has any length or size. When he plays with Bandego, he looks like a different player. He doesn't necessarily have the huge guy guarding him. They're guarding Bandego. So I think it's a good dynamic. I was nervous having 2 7-footers like that initially, but I've liked what I've seen so far. If Vic can, like I said earlier, keep people honest with the 3-point shot. I know he didn't hit any today, but if he can just knock down open ones, that's going to be crucial for just the offensive flow and the spacing. But you can't hate on Vic. He's been our best guy. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. I thought Jizzle James showed a lot late. There may be a point in the season where him and Day are more 1A, 1B. Right now, Day is clearly the starting point guard. That may change as the season goes forward. I don't know. I like what I've seen from Day, especially when he's knocking down some shots. I think that's more of a testament to what Jizzle can be as the season progresses. Day probably is who he is more than Jizzle, being a little bit older and a little more experienced in that regard. So we'll see if moving forward Jizzle can slide into that starting role. And if he does, that's a good thing, because that doesn't mean Day lost the job. That just means Jizzle went out there and really grew up this freshman year and took it. Next up for Cincinnati, Sunday, December 3rd against Florida Gulf Coast. That is at Fifth Third Arena. Then after that, almost a week off. And then it's at Xavier. It's at a team right now that I believe is 4-3, and they have Houston on Friday. I received a text earlier from a Cats fan, and he says, God, wouldn't that be nice if that court just collapsed into the ocean? I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. He was joking, obviously, and I probably shouldn't be relaying it on the show. I don't want for that to happen. But Xavier, Houston, Muskies could be 4-4 a week before that matchup with the Cats. Is this the year, maybe, after the alumni team went into Cintas Center? And we're knocking on wood. I got a big wooden desk around me. We're good, folks. I'm not jinxing anything. But could this be the year where, I'm not going to say when, but the year that they're favored heading into Cintas Center? I think that's maybe a fair statement.
Yes, let's just, everyone in the chat's going nuts. Avoid the trap game. Elliot's talking about how you're now asking for a natural disaster to happen in the Houston Xavier game. We hope everyone gets out of there okay. All right. I would actually prefer Houston to lose that game. I'd like to have Xavier. I want to at least get a quad 1 win out of this, man. We got to think about that type of stuff. But yeah, I think it's safe to say, let's not brush over Florida Gulf Coast. I know it's not, Dunk City like it was, 8-10 years ago, whenever the hell that happened. But like we said, you can lose any damn game in college basketball. There's no doubt about it. So let's take care of business there. But yes, I would assume that, home court advantage is such a big swing. We haven't won in Cintas in 20 years, dude. I was like 8 years old the last time they won a game in Cintas. So I could still see Xavier being favored by a pick 'em almost, -1, something like that. So we'll see. We'll hammer
on
the
that
Cats
alone.
when need be.
Yeah.
Just on the home court, dude, it'll swing
alone.
30 points, I swear.
I mean, just on the history factor. Like, at this point, if you're betting on the Cats in that game, you're a silly man. And I'm a silly man. I admit that. I've done it year after year. But, I mean, with Xavier winning every single game, even when years where I didn't think they were better, like when the Cats had Hicks and Maxiel and they had, Chalmers and that team, and was like 10-9 entering the game. I mean, every year, the Lance Stevenson year, I thought the Cats were better. There were many years I thought the Cats were better, and they just could not get it done. We'll obviously have more on that rivalry as we get just a little bit closer. Games in action today. You said you can lose any given night. Kansas, who's 5 in the country, 5th in the country, is up 57-54 on Eastern Illinois with 5:45 in the second half. I'm not going to update this podcast with the final score. Everyone has Google. You have Siri. All I'm going to say is Kansas is in a tight game. Kansas State also in a tight game, 68-66 with 2 minutes to go. So on your daily commute, pull over. Definitely don't do it while you're driving, listening to this podcast, but check out those scores and see if the Big 12 had a clean sweep, including Cincinnati's 86-81 win. Topic number 4. Fans are going to love this. Did you see that the Bearcats have a new fan, and her name is Taylor Swift? The Swifties are going nuts out there for the Bearcats. Fifth Third's going to be packed the rest of the year. Travis Kelce bought her a Bearcats jersey, number 13. It's not a Lenny Stokes jersey. I think it's a Trey Scott era jersey, but she's got a 13 Swift Bearcats jersey. This is awesome. I mean, this is a big day. Who does Xavier have as their big fan? Bill Murray. Congrats. That was cool in 2006. We have Taylor Swift.
Do we? I haven't seen this picture. I'm pulling it up. You're saying it's a 13, like old school block jersey?
We only got a tease of the back. So there's like a chance that it could be a TJ Maxx jersey that he bought her and just embroidered Swift on it.
Come on.
But based on the color scheme and based on the numbers that I'm seeing, I'm 99.9% sure that's a Bearcats jersey. Unless it's like a Chiefs basketball jersey.
Yeah, Xavier's got like Bill Murray, and I think they got like Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle from about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, solid celebrities, but yeah, I'll take Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on the Cats side of things. But I'm so over Taylor Swift. I don't even know if I can bring her on the bandwagon. Where was she when we were losing to Colgate? Where was Taylor Swift then?
Oh, when Jaron Cumberland threw it up from half court, she wasn't losing her mind with the rest of Bearcat Nation. I can tell you that much. Fire Brannon. We've had enough of this clown. UC football. Let's talk about it. We buried this team to the bagpipes about a month and a half ago, very early in the Big 12 slate. They won one Big 12 game. It was over a team that they've beaten year after year in the AAC in front of about 20,000 fans in the Houston Cougars. So they didn't beat any of the big wigs. They avoided Kansas State, Texas, and Texas Tech, had one of the most favorable schedules in the entire league, and they don't win any of those games aside from Houston. They lose to Miami of Ohio. An exodus of players are leaving, which I don't think is a bad thing, because when your team sucks and your players are leaving, who cares? All that matters, Mason Fletcher, Dante Corleone, the Godfather, your two best players are coming back. Let's see what Scott can do, because they're not going to fire him after 1 year. But, man, that was an F of a coaching job this year. Maybe not a coaching job, but in terms of the enjoyment and the Bearcats product, that was an F. I mean, after the Iowa State game, I'm trying to make a living doing this, or at least a side hustle doing this, and I didn't even want to watch the games. I was like, God forsaken. My Saturday has to be spent watching this.
It was, shameful. F across the board. I was even astonished. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a tough trail ahead going into the Big 12. Didn't think it would be that bad. Absolute failure across the board. Hopefully next year we figure it out, but I'm on to Cats basketball season. Just like the chat is, I am on to Cats hoops.
Yeah.
Okay, Chuck, don't bring that negative energy to the show again. Okay, I'm about to throw up after watching that boat of a camera angle that we had, and now you're bringing up something even more disgusting, which was UC football. I don't think I can take it.
It was tough. 86-81, final score in favor of Cincinnati. If you like the show, download the audio podcast in case you missed this post-game show live on YouTube. We have the aftermath on the podcast app. If you can make it here for the live chat, which it looks like a lot of people joined tonight. I mean, we got 42 watching right now. We salute you, Cats fans. We salute you. There were only a few guys in here. It was Mark Fetters, it was Deanna, and it was the Cincy man himself, Reds Daily. We had like 3 people in here for a few of those post-game shows on Sundays when everyone else was watching the Bengals, and we were working our tails off, getting the content out, and if you build it, they will come. That's what they said at the cornfields in Dyersville, Iowa, and we're saying the same things in the basements of what? You're in Covington. I'm in the basements, the cellars of Chicago. Final thoughts on Cincinnati? Anything you wanted to get to that you didn't get to, or is that a wrap on today's show?
No, that's a wrap, man. Good win. Let's get the hell out of Howard and on to Florida Gulf Coast.
Let's get the hell out of Howard. Never schedule that game again. I like the battle test, but I mean, next time, that's a lose-lose situation. If you want to be battle tested, schedule a road game at Providence. I mean, come on. Then we could take that L and it's fine. It's Providence. But a road game at Howard, I don't understand it. But hey, when you get the quadrant 3 win on the road, you know it's harder than a quadrant 3 game. It's a game that it felt a lot like East Carolina on a Sunday in 2020, didn't it? That's what it felt a lot like today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You could just – the vibes were terrible, as I said. They were terrible going into it. Not even really a trap game. Like, I just looked at it on the schedule, and it's going to be a tough one. But, yeah, again, win's a win. Let's get the hell out of Howard.
All right, everyone. If you like the show, give it a little thumbs up. Subscribe to Chatterbox Sports if you're not already subscribed. Subscribe to the Chatter podcast on the podcast app and the YouTube page. That's where Houdini and myself talk about a whole bunch of chatter. We may have a Christmas episode here with a little MySpace Top 5 Christmas movies edition. Fetters, we see you. Natty Iron, welcome. I've been seeing you on Brenneman's chat for a while now, and it's good to add you to the roster for the post-game shows. We'll be here after every single one. Kevin Valentine, go Bearcats. Reds Daily, yes, sir. Matt Myers, E-Train, we love you. The list goes on and on. Damn, it's a lot of the same four people talking for the last little bit. Matt Lanham joined the show. We had Nick Kirby was in there, the Xavier fan popping in here because his team sucks. We had Yo Boy Pop Tart was in here. Trace popped in here. The other Myers popped in here. Spurlock. I can't go through everyone. We had a great crowd tonight. Appreciate it. Go Bearcats. I'd give some down the drives, but I think it's the coolest chant ever when you see 7,000 people doing it together. But when it's one person doing it in front of a screen, God bless, it's cringe. Good night, everyone.